Hey everybody, happy Sunday. I hope that wherever you are and whatever you're doing, you're safe, you are well, and you are with people you care about who also care for you. It's been a week. It's been a week both in my personal life but also here in the garden. If you watch the main channel, or at least you follow us on Discord, or you're a Patreon supporter, you might know that we have already been given the all clear to have my truck repaired, and my truck arrived back yesterday. So Ortegas lives and breathes as much as an EV can, and has already been pushed into camera truck duties today. In fact, we're just in the process of removing all of the camera gear from the truck right now. But that has meant that we haven't been able to go and get any more soil for our potatoes yet. And while these potatoes are still doing, really nicely and growing, if I wander down here, my parsnip's doing great. You will see that these potatoes right here, these potatoes have basically decided that it's flowering time. And because of that, I really don't think that we're going to do a whole lot of soil carrying. And just to prove that I wasn't lying about the truck, look, there is Ortegas with the camera rig on the back and all the cables safely trailing into the back of the truck through the bed and all of that good stuff. So yeah, we're absolutely very happy to have the truck back. Now, I will say that not having the truck to carry soil has kind of slowed down my garden quite considerably. I talked about it in a previous chicken and garden update. But the good news is that now the truck is back, I can go and do that, and hopefully I can go and do that on maybe Thursday, maybe Friday. Essentially, by the time you watch this video, I'm actually filming this on a Wednesday because I've got a press car. That's what we've been filming with today, and Vi's going to be out of the office for the rest of the week filming with the press car. But I wanted to show you my lovely roses because I've forgotten the name of this one. But these roses are lovely pink single rows, and I got those because my late sister Susan, loved this particular type of rose. So look at that, don't they look amazing? Meanwhile, this was a rose that I thought had completely died, but no, it's gone back to the original species rose, which is lovely. For those who don't know, roses normally kind of what we consider, the fancy roses like this one, I'll come to this one in a minute, are generally grafted onto a species rootstock. And in this case, this is the rootstock that's now flowering of its own free will. And I think it looks beautiful. This, meanwhile, is Rosie the Riveter. It's a lovely double rose, and it changes colour. See if I can find one that's in a different, so it sort of starts off with this orangey red colour and gently goes white as time progresses. Meanwhile, this one is Pope John Paul, I think, the third. Now, I'm not religious. I just think this is a really pretty rose. Sometimes it comes out and it looks like that, like kind of dirty and murky. But sometimes it comes out looking just perfect, like that one. And the reason why Rosie the Riveter is called Rosie the Riveter is if you look down here, you'll see these huge, very sharp, very pointy spikes. And then over here, with a little bit of rust, I know, is another rose that was given to me by Erin and her other half. However, this rose has got a little bit of rust on it and it has not been great. So I need to give it some love and attention. But as you can see, some of the fresh growth is doing really well. If you move over here, my honeysuckle is looking great. The sunflowers are looking great. And also I have today come in and I've cleaned out. I really like borage, but it was kind of taking over. So I had to come in and clear out a lot of the borage this morning because I wanted the other flowers to have some room to grow. Meanwhile, this is the press car we've got this week. Yeah, it's just come back from doing its filming. And over here, my lupins are just attracting all of the bees. I've got this lovely kind of peach coloured lupin, which is kind of a pinky peachy colour, which is new. And look at all these bees coming on and just helping themselves. Look at that. Look at all that pollen. Huge amounts of pollen. I will let you go and do your thing. There's some more bees over there having all sorts of fun. The front section here, not looking super great because we've had some really extremes of temperature this week. It's been really hot and then it's been really cold. We've had rain, we've had sun. It's been a bit like that. But at least my truck is back, which means I can finally at last put this bed along the front here. Let me give some water to these sunflowers. As you can see, the sunflowers have been suffering a little, and I do need to plant the rest of these sunflowers up because they're doing just fine. And same with these tomatoes. And these are all the leftovers from my giveaway. And of course they don't grow super well when they're just left like that. So I need to plant up any remaining ones that I want to keep and see if I can go from there. It has been a personally tough week for me and for my other half. We've had some bad news. My beloved was unfortunately laid off after 11 years at the same company. There was a company restructuring, nothing she had done, but unfortunately she was on the list of people that they decided to let go. So more on that later on in the video. So I've been focusing on family, not garden this week. But what I am looking forward to is harvesting those lovely strawberries you can see over there. There's a couple more over here. And these strawberries are going to be like not the first of the season, because I have actually had some strawberries from up by the chicken coop, but these are going to be the first proper strawberries from the strawberry patch of the season. And hopefully nobody is going to eat them or, you know, start nibbling on them between now and when I decide to harvest them. There are a few strawberries hanging out down here. If you remember, there's some strawberry plants kind of interspersed with the raspberries. And as soon as the raspberries get their growth spurt on, the strawberries are kind of left to their own defences. There are some strawberries down there, as you can see, maybe. Let me get the, this is a strawberry plant right here. The raspberries are not yet fruiting, but they're not that far away from fruiting. And as you can see, raspberries grow incredibly vigorously once they get a start, and that is all pretty awesome. Unfortunately, I don't know what's happening over here. So the onions are clearly not happy. What are they? My brain has gone into a stalled mode. The radishes have gone to seed, which is unfortunate. It is what it is. While they've gone to seed, they're not going to produce decent sized plants, so it is what it is. I'm also a little frustrated that we don't have much in the way of carrots coming through yet. So I don't know if my carrot seed died, if they've been eaten or something else, but it's kind of disappointing to not see the carrots coming through yet. But I also know that carrots can sometimes be a bit slow to germinate. Not so with my peas. As you can see, I still haven't strung up the second lot of peas, but I do have some flowers coming, and on this side I have more flowers, better growth from these peas, and also I have, I think I'm going to have some peas soon to eat. The beans are happy. Beans are being beans, and they're going up pretty quickly. These are my fava beans. They're doing incredibly well. I'm trying to keep them inside this structure because that's where I want them. They want to come out, but I want them inside because that will encourage them to go up rather than go out. I still haven't done anything here. As I said, I've had other things on my mind this week, and I really, really hope that we can get some time in the garden this weekend. But with everything else going on, it's been really kind of difficult just to A, get the motivation, and B, have the time and the energy to do anything. But the stuff I've got in here, they're doing really well. So the broccoli continuing to grow, the cabbages continuing to grow, the lettuces and the celery continuing to grow. But what's happening in here is that my tomatoes and my cucumbers and my peppers and my tomatillos are getting to the leggy stage. They've grown up, but they're now getting quite tall and they get a little top heavy, which means you have to start kind of clamping them down So I've got this support pole here, and then I've got these 3D printed brackets. If you're regular to the channel, you know I did these last year and they were really, really useful. And at the moment, I'm just going through and adding them when they are needed. And when they're not needed, I'm not bothering. I'm also going through and I'm cutting the lower leaves, or the lower branches, I guess, of these tomato plants, the lower limbs, because I want to encourage the tomato plants to grow up before they start putting out shoots, because that helps with the airflow. And with tomatoes, that is something you really need to be careful about. They will be susceptible to blight, and blight likes damp. So what you want to try and do is make sure there's an air gap, there's airflow between the tomato plants and the ground. You can see I've got some volunteer tomatoes going through here as well. I don't really know where those volunteer tomatoes came from, but I'm just going to leave them there because they seem to be doing just fine and dandy, thank you very much. And the same thing here with the tomatillos. You can see I've cut off some of the extraneous limbs here to try and encourage my tomatillos to go up rather than to branch off and do weird things. Also this weekend, I must get these guys in. Now you can see this one here has been chomped on, and this one here has been chomped on, but they're still doing okay. They're still growing. So I'm just kind of leaving them to their own devices. They've got, need to give them a bit of water before the end of today because it's a little humid today. But other than that, they're doing really well. Same with the corn. That needs to go in ASAP. But because I haven't had the truck, I haven't been able to. And in case you're wondering about the wonderful butterfly, that swallowtail, that Western swallowtail that I saw, that you saw in the thumbnail, it was in here, and I think it overwintered in the greenhouse. And then I found it yesterday right here, and it was getting a little bit caught up in trying to get out. So I helped it out, and I actually kind of pointed it in the right direction. And I think, is that a wasp or a bee? I'm not entirely sure. And for that reason, I'm not going to touch it. I think that might be a white-faced hornet, which looks a little bit like a bee. Might be wrong. It's actually a wasp. Insect identification is not a strong point of mine. My dad was an amateur entomologist, but not me. I like the plants, I like the animals, I like the insects, but I'm just not very good at identifying them all. Anyway, tell me what's going on in your garden. I would love to hear. And if you can, please consider supporting the channel from as little as $1.50 a month. You can do so by going to patreon.com/transportevolved. You can also go to our YouTube channel and support us there. You can also send us an old-fashioned check to our PO box. Don't worry, that was me popping a mirror back in place. I leant on the mirror of this press car and I knocked it out of position, so I just popped it back. You can also send us Ko-fi, and there are plenty of other options. If you go to our website or follow the links in the show notes, you'll get all of the options, including our swag store. Why is that important right now? Well, as many of you will already know, the wonderful people scrolling by on either side of me right now, and as you will know if you were listening earlier on in the video, my wife unfortunately lost her job of 11 years this week, and it's unfortunate, frustrating. It's the first time in 18 years that she has been laid off for any reason, and only once, one of 3 times in her entire working career, and she started working in the 1990s. So yeah, it's kind of rare, but unfortunately it has happened. Now we are going to get some financial assistance from her former employer, but it does mean that I need to step up with Transport Evolved, because without my wife, Transport Evolved wouldn't exist, because he wouldn't have the funds to do it. And I need to help out, pay the mortgage, make sure we can keep a roof over our head. And the only way we can do that is if Transport Evolved brings in a little bit more money. The only way we can do that, by the way, without laying anybody off, let's put it like that. So I don't want to pass on my partner being laid off onto the team. That's not fair. I want to be able to keep everybody paid and everybody fed and everybody happy. And the only way we can do that is if we increase our monthly pledges on Patreon by between $2,000 and $4,000. That will help us make sure that we can pay the mortgage, we can pay the bills, and we can keep a roof over my head, and we can also keep Transport Evolved operating. Without that, we just won't be able to. So if you are able, even if it's only for a few months while we sort this this glitch in employment from my other half out, I would be very, very grateful indeed. Thanks for being awesome. Thanks for being the positive change we need to see in the world. Keep your garden happy, and until next time, keep evolving.